More parts on the Turbo Aerovee engine. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to try and get the top mounted oil cooler on the Turbo Aerovee engine today, so should be a fairly straightforward project. I've already gotten everything out that I needed, the fasteners, the tools. I've prepped the parts. Just so you guys know, you've got to remove a certain amount of the bent lip, the lower flange on the top mounted oil cooler, because where it mounts in conjunction to the mounting plate, you've got to be able to clear that there. So I believe the dimension is 1 5/8 inch from the mounting bolt center line. The way I did it was I just simply temporarily set the gaskets in place, line them up with the tubes on the cooler, held it up, grabbed a red Sharpie, drew a mark where I knew I would be at least just clear of it, and that was all that was needed. Then I took my green tin snips, I think they're the left-hand cut, and I got right in tight to that angle, and I just snipped up to my red line, clipped it over, grabbed a couple of files, filed this edge nice and smooth, no sharp edges, and I took a small round file to just clean up the corner, make it a radius rather than a hard corner, because hard corners are where things have a tendency to crack and split from the vibration. Now that's just a fin. It's not even close to the cooler itself, but it's going on an engine. I want to prevent it from cracking, so I radiused all the edges. I can run this all across my hand, not get hung up on anything, just the way I like to do things. So one thing that I did find a little bizarre was this anodized mounting plate. There was 2 holes drilled where the 2 bolts go through the top of the oil cooler to hold it tight to the mounting plate, and they were not tapped from the factory, so there was no threads in there. And I thought something was wrong, and I was wondering why I didn't have enough nuts to go on the bottom, but it's supposed to be threaded, and I don't know if that's because different fasteners go out from time to time with different kits, and they expect you to check that and thread it for yourself, or mine was possibly a one-off oopsie, just didn't happen. Tap might have broke in the production cycle and just didn't complete the part. I don't know. But I went downstairs, used thread checkers, and found out that this bolt was a 1/4 28 thread bolt. Luckily I have a tap for that, so it wasn't a big deal. I actually drilled and tapped a piece of brass quickly just to make sure I had the right tap. Made sure that the bolt went in and out properly, and that was the case. So I had to do 1/4 by 28 tap in this part here, and that was easy enough for me because, well, I have the tools. So just be aware of that, and 1/4 28 may not be the size you have. That may be why the holes weren't tapped to begin with. Different fasteners might go out with different kits. I don't know for sure, so just pay attention to that and make sure your holes are either threaded already or you have the proper tools on hand before you go to do this project. So that was that. It wasn't a whole lot of prep, just clean the top here, and let's get moving forward. So first thing is just a couple of small orange rubber gasket seals that go in there. I clean the holes out thoroughly. Make sure there's nothing on your rubber gasket so you get a good seal. And simple enough. Then the mounting plate, you align the two cavities on the back side there. Then, let's see. Oh, the button head holds the front in. I just got to double check whether that gets held with a washer or not. So, does not look like this gets a washer. I didn't grab an Allen key though, so luckily I believe I have the right ones handy. Alright, metric maybe? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to get that one started first. Just to keep the part from moving around. Next, I have the two shorter bolts and a couple of washers go not on the top, but okay. So no washers under the heads of the bolts here. Washers under the nuts that are going on the bottom though. So not too bad to get the fingers in there. Alright. Bring this one down snug. Just want to make sure that the rubber gaskets are still where they're supposed to be. Alright, snug up. Well, that's interesting. Oh, just barely enough room in there. Let me grab an extension. That socket fits pretty darn snug. Can't get the box end in, too close to the block. Okay, kind of a final check. I didn't see any torque specs for these, so I think it's just good old-fashioned German Guten type. That's not right. I do believe I ran out of thread. Feel like there should be a washer under the head of this bolt. Because there's not enough thread. Alright, it calls for 6 washers. And 2 here. 2 here, and 2 under the heads of the long bolts there. Okay, so those 4 need to be there. This is not going to work. I need washers under the head of the bolts, or I'm going to have to double up the washers under the nuts to sandwich this and compress it enough to put any tension on that plate at all. So let me snug down the front button head here just to see, but I don't think that's going to get us. Yeah. That'll get us down flush. This is not even going to come close. So, all right. Let's see. Yeah. One of those washers still leaves that recessed enough. I believe I need a couple more washers to go under there. Now, do they need to be AN style washers? I don't know. But they definitely needs to be a washer in there just for fitment. So I'm going to try and see what I have. Alright, I have 2 more of the 416s, which is what it's going to take to do this job, regardless of what the plans say. So, let's see what we can do. Take 2. Give myself a little wiggle room. Look at this. It's almost a vacuum fit. I can't get the socket back in the hole I just got it out of. get a good mind to take these things down to the machine shop and enlarge those holes. I'm going to go see if I have a slightly narrower 7/16 socket because I'm at a loss. It's just too tight a clearance between the recess for the bolt and the socket itself. So I'll be right back. That's ridiculous. There's no reason in the world I should have to drive a socket head into a component. I mean, leave 10,000s clearance or something. Now when it's loose, it wants to drop in, but as soon as it gets any tension on it, alright, I guess once I get this in and tight, it's going to stay. I'm rotating, using a 6-point socket. I'm rotating it till I kind of feel it want to sit in one spot. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Alright. I drop a lot of stuff, don't I? Alright, I guess I'm just going to need to get them tight on the first shot. Good and tight. Alright. Maybe we'll just leave it there. I can lift the whole engine right now. Alright. That plate's in. It's flush to the motor. We've got our orange rubber gaskets in there. So we're going to call that done. I've raised just a couple small burrs here when I was using the screwdriver to try and center my bolt. So I'll take those down. I don't think that'll really be a problem, but we don't want anything standing up. Alright, so the next step is these skinnier, flatter, I'll call them spaceship washers. Again, little rubber gaskets. They pocket into these two recesses here at the top, and then there's a couple of dimple pressed orifices, we'll call them, cavities on the bottom of the oil cooler. The other two smaller holes are the bolt holes. So let's get some washers for the bolts. I was curious, this thing comes with the foam wrapped around it, and I'm sure it's for whatever this thing was originally built or intended for. I didn't know if I should remove it or not. I see it in the picture in the manual, so I'm going to leave it there for now. I didn't countersink the holes when I threaded them. I probably should have. This doesn't want to start the thread too easy, but I've already checked the bolts in the holes, so I know they fit. Now these I can't over tighten. I won't really crush the oil cooler because there's a solid tube of aluminum, or solid tube of aluminum going down the length, but I obviously don't want to get too manly on it. Okay, and then last bolt gets a washer at the top and the bottom and goes through the mounting plate, or it should. And loosen these just a little. There we go. A little alignment issue. That's a little snug. Alright, forgot which way I wanted to go there. snug. Snug. Alright, I think it's still set to 14. It's the last thing we did, so just to get a little bit of a uniform torque on there, let's see what we do. Not 14. Let's see what's up here. Let's just back that down to 10. All right. I think that's it. Top oil cooler is mounted. That was a little more work than I thought it would be. But yeah, Sonex guys, if you're watching, leave a little more relief around these bolt cavities here, because a little too snug on the 7/16 sockets leaves no room. Increase that by 10 thousandths even. Make a big difference. Because I even went and found my smallest diameter, outside diameter, 7/16 socket, and downstairs, and that didn't want to fit. So apparently the one I had up here was just a hair smaller. So allow for some variance in there, please. And yeah, one more part of the engine's done. And if you were paying attention to the last video, you know that we did resolve the landing gear issues in the misshipped fuselage from 5 years ago, and that's going to get done. So I'm hoping once again that all my parts are on the way, or at least a good portion of them, so I can get back to working on the airframe. And well, you know what time it is. It's time to reach down there, hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you know when I've got a new video up. Thumbs up button, hit the like button, because YouTube really loves that for some reason. And be sure to share these videos with your friends. Thanks for watching.